right, so last 4 to 6-ish weeks we've been playing around in butterfly guard, working on some different options from there, attacking, passing, standing, passing, all the fun, right? This week we're going to transition to side control, one of my favorite positions, and we're going to work probably my all-time favorite series of submissions. It was the series of submissions I used to win my first white belt tournament, and I've used it from there up to black. So it's a little bit of an odd one, but I do love it. So we're here, a couple things about just traditional side control positioning wise. I want my top knee right in line with the top of his head. My bottom knee should be right about his bottom rib. If you're flexible and can fit a little lower than that, good for you. I don't care. But you want to be about there. You want to have the inside arm tucked up into your hip pocket. Head control, underhook on the far side. I like a good gable grip. And we're dropping our weight on top of him, not driving it over him. That's one of the more common, heavy white belt mistakes I see, especially from wrestlers, is they get here and they're like, rah! And then you end up getting swept all the time because you're like, why do I get swept all the time, Dustin? I'm like, maybe because you're not settling into your position. This is traditional side. We're going to go from here, we're going to transition, we're going to knee slide in, probably why we warmed up with that, to where our inside knee is right level with the head. Our back foot is posted in the mat. We have a good underhook and a good hook here. This is scissor side control. Very similar, just your feet are in a scissor position as opposed to traditional side. First thing we're going to do is just work a very simple paper cutter choke. So with our thumb, I'm going to reach inside his collar as deep as I can, grabbing that top patch right there. Generally there's that lapel patch. I'm trying to get my pinky right to the top. As soon as we're there, all I'm going to look to do is drop my elbow down and weight in. Just hitting a very simple paper cutter choke. We're going to burn through a couple of these because they're very simple and very intuitive, and then we're going to get to the fun stuff a lot quicker, all right? But I need some focused effort in these first couple drills because you're going to be like, Dustin, that's painfully simple. And I'd say, Cat, you're right. So we're here. We're going to start the traditional side. We're going to baseball slide up, thumb in, grip, drop our elbow and our chest down. Finish that choke. Questions on that? All right, we're going to drill that for 4 full minutes, and then we're going to go to the next thing. 1, 2, 3. So I'm here. Boom. And we're here. I get to scissor side control. And how I would describe that first choke is, it's an omoplata. It's technically a submission, but only if they suck. So when I'm here, I like to hit it more in the no-gi version if I'm not committed to it. I'm just going to cap their shoulder and start dropping my elbow into their throat. Because I'm actually not really trying to choke him. What's the Star Wars meme? It's a trap, right? That's all I'm looking for here, guys. I'm here. I have good weight distribution. I'm going to start doing that. James is naturally going to start to fight with that bottom hand, but he's also going to fight with his top hand. I appreciate that. Because all I'm looking for is this hand to get engaged. Because if his hand's real tight to my body, because a lot of people will start trying to hide this arm from you, it's really hard to reach back behind you and push it forward. But if I'm choking you and you bring it in front, really easy to drop my elbow back to my hip, and I'm going to connect it to my side. I'm sure JJ could explain some muscular skeleton thing. It's whatever. You get stronger when you connect shit to the rest of your body, right? Boom, I'm here. I'm going to find the wrist, and I'm going to extend my bottom leg. Instead of keeping it bent here to keep good balance, I'm going to lever it out. As I do that, I'm going to push his wrist right into the pit of my knee. Boom. As soon as that lands, I cover the knee. Big detail that a lot of you miss on this, because I teach this every year when we get to side control. It's my favorite submission series. This thigh has to get behind this elbow. Here, elbow in, either cross your feet or pinch your knees. I don't care. I prefer just a very simple leg cross here. Now, depending on how much you like or dislike the person you're rolling against, depends on how quick you move here. Me, all I'm going to do is slowly pull this knee back towards his hip. It's a very nasty Kimura. If you hate who you're rolling against, you forward roll. And you're like, Dustin, that can't happen. I watched it at a tournament in Chicago. Still one of the most earth-shattering screams I've ever heard in my life. Sounded like they cracked a 2x4, and then all you heard was screaming for the next 30 minutes. It was awful. So we're here. I start to try to choke James. Boom. He instantly brings that hand in. That's all I need. Boom. I connect the hand. Boom. Move. I'm not fighting James arm to arm. I don't believe in fighting fair. That's silly. Why would I fight you fair? I have my arm, my chest, my back versus his arm. Bop. Snap that wrist right into the pit of my knee. Thigh behind the elbow. Connect. Once you're here, guys, take your time. You have it. It's just a matter of finishing. A lot of times I'll start trying to trap this hand so that he can't see cool stuff. Very simple leg Kimura. Questions on this? Nothing?
If the leg is too far to the calf, his arm is too far to the calf.
Oh God.
Makes it worse.
That's worse. That's way worse.
The only thing he's really going to do is if he can get his arm fully extended, which is what we're going to go over next. So his best option is I start to push his hand here, he extends his wrist, and we have some other options from there. But if I can keep him from getting straight, so anywhere in between here and my ankle that he moves his wrist to, go ahead, James, pick a spot.
No, I don't want to. I like it here.
It gets way worse down here.
God. It sucks.
This is actually the safest position, which is why I have you guys practice it here. Because if I have his wrist right here, all I have to do is force my foot down and my hip up, and I can probably rip some shit out of James's shoulder. Just for good measure, I don't.
I like my shoulder.
The look on Carolyn's face was the best. Guys, I like James enough not to rip his shoulder off. Boom. So I'm here. I'm going to switch sides because I like James, right?
Thank you.
Boom. I'm here. I'm trying to choke him. He engages his top hand. Boom. That leg comes out. Boom. Here. I turn everything to get that wrist where I want it. Bop. This thigh behind the elbow. Just kind of crossing those feet back. You can go to more of a pinched feel. I just prefer to come right to that simple cross right here. Once you're here, all you're looking to do, a lot of people try to just drive their hips forward, which can work, but he can counter that by just driving his hips with you. He just follows the pressure. You're actually trying to drag this knee backwards. That's the big mistake. Now, I want everyone to do me a favor. Everyone do this. See how we can all do that with the same amount of pain that we entered class with? I would like you all to be able to do that and leave with the same amount of pain when you leave class. Careful and slow with your friends, okay? Questions, comments, or concerns? 1, 2, 3. So I'm here. Couple details I want to go over. One, almost never give up this underhook here. It'll feel very naturally to go to like the Sultan squeeze here, right? And to come here and try to hit stuff. Realize the second anything you're not up to, anything you're doing doesn't work, all James has to do is start taking your back and you're in trouble in a hurry. So never give up your underhook here. The other reason I like this, if this, let's say, isn't working for whatever reason, they're Gumby armed or whatever, realize you can keep this trapped and come across for double attack, whether it's Kimura, Americana, whatever you want to do from there. But realize you have some options if this isn't working. Now, most of you ran into the very natural problem of what happens with this is, I go to start pushing his hand down and he's like, oh shit, that's not what I want. And he extends his hand. Perfect. All we're going to do is look to give James a good thumbs up. So if James gives me the thumbs up here, all I'm looking to do is trap his arm right there. Now, while I do that, I'm just going to drop my leg just a little bit so that my knee's not right by his head. I just want my thigh right behind his elbow. I'm going to drop my knee on top of his wrist, pick this knee up, hit the straight arm lock. Most of you guys will remember that reverse arm lock we hit from a lot of different spots. Same concept's working here, just a little bit of a different angle. So we go to attack here, it's working, James extends his hand, boom. All I'm looking to do is stop it in that upright position. Drop here, lift. It's a real quick, cheap submission. I'd say with about a 40% hit rate, If you're really good at it, it can work consistently. But if not, it's one of those, hey, this is a threat. And we'll go over what happens next when you miss it and he starts to hide.
Same one you had on yesterday.
But I like this to add this in because it can actually work pretty well. So boom, he starts to extend his wrist. Boom, we stop there. My leg goes from extended here to just dropping just that little bit. Knee comes down over the wrist and over your hand. Raise your other knee up behind his elbow. You should get a pretty nice little tap there. Questions on this one? Good job, guys. 1, 2, 3. Boom. I get back here with James, right? And things start happening. I go for the choke. James counters. I go to press here. And let's just say for whatever reason, I just am not good at this reverse arm lock. Or James doesn't suck at jiu-jitsu. And he just knows, hey, my arm's in trouble. I'm just going to hide it. So he's just going to look to kind of grab my hip, grab my thigh, just kind of hide out here, right? A lot of guys will do this when you start this series, is they'll just start hiding this arm as soon as they can. They just know, hey, bad things are happening. I don't want to be a part of that, right? So once I'm here, we have a couple options. One, I will just trap this arm sometimes, and guess what? There's an entire other arm that we can go across and get after. Most of you guys can sort that out. I will let you sort that out on your own, right? Pretty simple. Attack the crossbody. Do what you think's best, right? You can also go back to that paper cutter choke. It's actually really effective now because you have his defensive hand trapped. The only hand that'll be able to give you an effective defense is now trapped behind you. Once again, most of you are smart enough to rub your 3 brain cells together and figure that one out. So we're not going to waste time drilling that one. We're going to go instead for the reverse triangle. So I get here. Once I have this arm trapped, I'm going to look to bring this foot right next to James's head. So I'm here. All I'm going to look to do is I'm going to fake like I'm going for that choke, and I'm just going to pop his head up just that little bit. Big step over, back, here. And then I'm going to look to scoop with my heel to pick his head up. A lot of us try to just kind of force our leg backwards, and it doesn't work. We want to scoop and pin that knee to the ground. As soon as we get there, I'm going to close that triangle and sit back into it. Now, you can finish this triangle just by switching your head to the far side and squeezing. Now, I'm going to let go of this for a second. Let James breathe because he's only got 4 brain cells and I need him to have all of those. But you can finish that triangle just by switching your head position from the same side hip to crossbody. Or you can, once again, I have his head trapped. I'm not going to completely lock it up. And I have an exposed arm here. Work on finishing the reverse triangle first. Because if you can finish that, finishing in double attack is just as easy as anything else. Alright? Questions on getting to that position, Cadillac?
Can I see some details on your hip turn when you come through?
Yes.
So you stepped over.
Yeah. So when I come here, big detail that I'm looking for is this foot comes over, my knee drives down, and I'm looking to drive that hip straight in. So that way my cut
Dip down right on the sternum.
yes. Because once I'm here, let's say I can't connect my feet, which can happen, right? Big boys, you suck. It just, things happen, right? Life happens. I can still stay here. Pick a direction, pick an arm to break. You have a lot of great options. But once you're here, the other big detail you can focus on here is this back leg. I'm going to let it find that triangle. A lot of people reach with this leg. As soon as this gets to here, it's fine. Find it with the other leg. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So once this leg gets into position, so once it gets to here, boom, this leg rides across to find it. It's a lot tighter that way, isn't it, Mr. Hatchett? Okay. Yeah. Sucking at jiu-jitsu would be my first answer of what you're doing wrong. But most likely, if you're are you getting rolled in the transition or after? You're rolling it during.
I think because she locks it up.
Okay. So James claims that you're getting rolled during the locking process, which seems likely given a little bit of size differential. But when I go to step over here, are you getting rolled like this?
Like that.
Boom. Yeah, you're not basing. Realize your legs have to do most of the work here. So what a lot of people get into is they get this hand engaged far too much. Realize you have to be able to do this with your legs, not with your hands. So this becomes this gets here, this finds it, boom. Now, unless you're going this way, you should be able to get rolled this way. You should be able to fuck off post. Should be able to stop that pretty quickly. So realize that if your hand's having to go backwards to engage that triangle, you're doing something drastically wrong. You're positioning wrong.
The other leg forward.
Yeah, then you need to have better post. Other questions, guys?
Yeah, make it work, Jabbar.
All right, so we're here. Side control, boom, I go for the choke. Boom, I go to extend, he goes here. Boom. I'm just gonna trap here for just a second. I'm gonna keep a good hook here and here. Bop. Drive my knee down, scoop that head, find it,
With your back.
yeah, bring that back leg to it. All right?
Good detail.
What are you waiting for?
All right, driller out. 1, 2, 3.